Hey. Okay, so I guess we're live. I'm using a different version of live streaming, it seems. So it's a little different, but hey. So if you're here, say hello. I'm so excited to be here sharing with you guys, checking in. I hope everybody's well and healthy and, doing as best as we can. I'd love to hear just how you're doing. That's the most important thing. So I'm just gonna double check that my live is working on my phone, and in the meantime, I'll just introduce this topic. So we're gonna be talking about, hey Rachel, I guess it's working. Okay, perfect. We're talking about today the 4 biggest energy leaks in your business and of course how to plug those, and we're tapping into the wisdom of astrology for this is really powerful. Hey Sherry Lynn, so happy to see you. Welcome. It's this Hey Emily, welcome. Let me know how you guys are doing as you're coming on. It's a different format, so it's like my eyes are going to different places than I'm used to, but it's interesting. So wow, this is like pretty advanced stuff here. I don't know if you've ever tried it out, but it's like next level Facebook Live. But anyway, I was so excited to share this topic with you guys because I really feel that at this point in time, our energy management is key, right, to being able to manage and handle so many different roles that we are all kind of finding ourselves in different ways, right? So, the biggest thing that I have learned through this experience of the pandemic so far, hey Alexandra, welcome, has been that, every person is experiencing it in a completely unique way. Everybody is facing their own unique set of challenges. And hey, Janelle, welcome. So happy to see you. Let me know how you're doing and how you're feeling on this Tuesday. Thank you so much for being here with me. So, as I was saying, it's been really, really interesting for me personally, and I'd love to hear, what your experience has been. But one of the biggest things that has just kind of come through, I guess, for me in my business, in my personal situation, since, my kids are both now home full time, of course, my husband's whole schedule has changed. So it really forced me to get really clear on a lot of things, especially around priorities and looking at energy leaks and, really taking a good hard look at what is working, what isn't, right? Because there is such uncertainty, of course, in so many factors that it's almost like I felt like I needed to really just get so clear on what I do know to be true, right? And that always is, I think, our own selves, right? We don't know what's going to go on outside of us, but we can always take that inventory and look at what's going on inside of ourselves, how we're managing ourselves. And, that's where I've been finding the certainty for myself. And so it's been really interesting, like I never would have thought, I think none of us would have ever thought that we'd all be in this situation. And regardless of what we knew was coming, regardless of anything, it's like, none of us knew how things were going to be playing out. And that just goes with everything, right? But regardless of that, what it is that we need to come back to our own center, right? And so for me, it's been about oh yeah, sorry, I totally lost my train of thought. I never would have thought that in this situation, in the pandemic, right, that I would have turned around and gotten filled 5 new spots and roles in my business, right, which I shared in my company. And yet that is the thing that makes the most sense when you really think about it. And so I really wanted to come on and share with you just what that process has been like and how astrology has really supported me throughout this time. And of course, help you, right? I really want to help you in looking at things from that perspective, finding your footing, stabilizing your own, inner environment, your personal space, your daily day-to-day, way that you're running things, whether that's between yourself and your partner or your, somebody you're working with, your clients, whatever it is, or just yourself and yourself, right? These tools are so powerful in being able to identify, okay, what's working, what's not, what do we need to change, right? And just being able to move forward. So this has been so amazing and expansive for me because, like I said, I never would have thought, that this experience would have led to like one of my biggest growth spurts in my business so far. And, it was the very thing, it was the catalyst that finally enabled me or, pushed me or whatever you want to say to expand right into a next level in which now I'm finding myself leading a new team of people, outsourcing a lot of things that I was doing for myself for so long, and really again growing right in ways that I always knew were what I wanted and what was going to happen for me, but I just didn't know how. Right. And so this whole concept of energy leaks is so important because if you have big visions for yourself, if you have big goals, like, beyond just how much money you want to be making a month and things like that, but like you really know in your heart of hearts that you want to make a really big impact. You don't even maybe know exactly what that looks like, but you just know that you're here to serve a lot of people, that you're here to change things on a big level. The most important thing for you is your own energy management and really being a master of your own energy, right? If you want to lead a big team, if you want to lead others, and I've been lately having a lot of new realizations around the word lead and things like that, and I'm not so into it, but for lack of a better term right now, if you want to be someone whose vision, right, is a guiding force and this unifying force for other people, then you have to really know how to lead yourself and you have to understand yourself, right? Know thyself. So it's been really interesting for me, and I'm just so curious for those of you who are on, do any of you have team members? Do you have somebody working with you? Are you a solopreneur? Just answer in like one word, what your company dynamic is right now. I just want you guys to know that I was solo for like a good 4 years. Brittany, who's now a community facilitator in my program Eminence, I think we've been working together for maybe like a year. So she was kind of like my secondhand woman. Okay, so Janelle solo, amazing. That's so cool. I feel it. And Emily solo, yes. So this will be really helpful for you. Rachel as well. Okay, cool. So most of you are solo. And there's so much beauty in being a solopreneur, right? Because like I said, I was solo for most of the time. It's one of the most, I think, powerful ways to get to know yourself really well because you are, you're constantly just working with yourself, right? So this will be really interesting for you to take a look at and reflect on if you are feeling like, maybe it's time to get more support, and maybe it will just shine a light on some areas where maybe you didn't realize that you have certain energy leaks, and how, whether delegating or hiring support or expanding in that way or not, that's not what this is about. Like, this isn't just about like hiring people or anything. It's really just about taking a good look and changing things. Sometimes that means, okay, it's time to hire someone or it's time to outsource this. Alexandra solo as well, thanks for sharing. Or sometimes it just doesn't. That's totally fine, so the hey Libby, yay. Yeah, there'll definitely be the replay. Okay, so I'm so excited because this is really, as everything that I do is conceptual, I'm air dominant. So, I'm fire dominant, but I have a lot of air with my Gemini sun. So the way that I teach is very, very conceptual. And I love that because I just plant the seeds, and I know that you're going to think about things in a different way after this. So, we're going to start talking about the four elements, right? And we're going to talk about how these four elements are constantly basically at play inside of all of us and inside of our businesses as well. And I just want to bring them up for you, have you take a look, and we're going to do a kind of like fun game with this and just do like a contemplation or reflection on where you're at, right? And then offer up to you some ways to get creative about solving those if there are energy leaks for you. Okay, so we're going to start off with the fire element. I have my notes here because what I do is I get these ideas and then I create the event. And then if I don't write it down, I swear I will forget because they're always like so inspired and in the moment. So thank God I wrote it all down. So for the fire, okay, one of the biggest energy leaks that I was experiencing, and I'm so curious, and drop a 1 if you feel this is happening, okay? Fire, right? Okay. If you are not in the kind of like exalted expression of the fire element, meaning if your fire is not like fully on board with you, and bear with me for a moment here, it's going to make sense. Don't get caught up in the terminology or anything. If you're not taking care of things right away, if you're not taking action on something right away, that is going to be one of the biggest drains in your business, okay? So what am I talking about? You have to understand that as somebody who's running a company, whether solo, right, team, whatever it is, you are the chief, right? You're the person who's in charge and you're calling the shots, okay? So that ability to go ahead and take action on something that you know you want to do, you've known you wanted to do this forever, right? And yet you're still not doing it, right? And that's going to be one of the biggest energy leaks. So take a good look, drop a 1 if you resonate and if you feel like, you know what, Daphna, there, and self, you know what, right now I am not taking action. I'm not doing things like promptly, okay? This is really important, and I started noticing it a lot since being in this pandemic situation where, you know, my time is very limited. My availability is very limited. I don't have that luxury anymore of lots and lots of time to, just kind of sit on things, right? Because it's like, if I'm not here, then I'm there, right? If I'm not focusing on this, I'm doing all the other things to just keep the house in order and things like that. The more we wait on things and the more we avoid making a decision, taking an action, doing the freaking thing, right? That leaks our energy. It just leaks the energy. Okay. So imagine yourself, you're like a force field, right? You have infinite energy because you're connected to source. However, it's kind of like a battery, you could say, right? Like you have like your cell phone battery, right? So if you have your phone just on, right, and it's just running every single program of an app on the phone, and you're doing a million things on there, right? And it's just sucking up the energy. That's what I'm talking about, meaning it's draining the energy. That's what we're trying to identify. What are those drains, right? Instead, what we want to do is we want to be plugged in. We want to be charging up the energy and the power, right? So number one of the biggest places where you will be seeing leaks, right? If you're not aware of this and if you're not, conscious about this, is that fire element, right? If you're gonna do it, just do it, right? If you've known for months already that you want to work with this person, or you don't, or whatever, sometimes it's an inaction that's actually the action. Or let's say there's a conversation you've been avoiding that you have to just have, right? Just do the thing, right? Because the not doing it is taking up so much of your mental space, and it's taking up so much of your energy, and it's taking up, and it's actually, what it is holding off all the chain of events that come with that thing, with the action or the decision. Okay, so this is pretty simple, but yet are you, not doing that is the question. And usually, here's the really cool thing. I'm not referring, actually, Alexandra, great question. I'm not referring to like your specifics yet. I was just about to get into that. We're just talking generally here, conceptually. However, there is a technique that I teach in my program Eminence, and I'm going to share it with you here today. It's very exclusive. But you can go ahead and check your elemental balance, and you're going to be able to identify which of these you might have more of those leaks in, just kind of by nature, right? So if you're fire deficient, if fire is very low for you, like for me, it's my dominant element. So this is not an area that I have like such a struggle with. Okay. But it's still there. That's why I'm sharing all of them, because I think that these are things that regardless of your individual constitution can show up for you. And it's because, it's because of a lack of basically certain success habits and certain ways of being able to show up in your business, right? That many of us just have not been taught. We've not been mentored in properly. We've not been, it's not been really nurtured inside of us through our education and things like that, whatever. I won't get into all of that. However, this is about energy management. Okay. So we've not been taught energy management, right? That's not like in the curriculum overall. Okay, great. I'm so glad you understand. That's a really great question. So if you want to get more specific, what you're going to then do is you're just going to follow that process that I teach, which is go to your pull-in chart, pull up your elemental breakdown, and just, use that as kind of just a way to get a little bit more specific for yourself, right? So maybe and at the end, by the way, we'll have a Q&A. So if you do want to get some feedback on yours, but again, I wanted to keep it general because I think that this is something everybody should be looking at, because these are kind of 4 elements of, real CXO, or I like to call CXO your chief experience officer. It's like the 4 elements of like being a true self leader and being a true manager and energy master basically in your business. So you want to have all 4 on fleek. So, okay, we spoke about fire, right? If you're going to do it, just do it, right? Just do it. Stop draining that energy. Stop leaking out that life force energy because of fear or whatever it is. If you know you're going to do it, do it. As soon as it's done, it's like, it clears that energy. Okay. So some of you guys resonated. Perfect. I'm so excited. Let's move into Earth. Okay. So with Earth, one of the biggest energy drains that is very common for solopreneurs is in the Earth element, right? Hey, Cassandra. Awesome. Yes, the replay will be up. So, okay, what's that? It's in a lack of automation, and it's a lack of systematizing. Okay. So if you're a solopreneur and you are not yet fully leveraging the amazing tools and technologies and models and templates and things like that available to automate a lot of processes, that's a big energy leak in your business. I promise. I guarantee that is probably the case for 99% of people, only because, again, there's not a real mastery around this that is taught enough and is really valued enough. Okay. Some people do it, and some people, their whole business is about that and teaching that. And wait, Sherry Lynn, I literally light candles to bring in fire for myself because I have so much water and air. Yes, perfect. Yes, that's what we're talking about. Yeah. So, with this, it's like the dream there is if you're spending time every day as a business owner and a CXO doing things that can be automated, you're wasting energy and time. That's just, you have to face that fact. Okay, if you're doing tasks over and over and over again, I don't care what they are, everything can be automated. Like, that's the crazy thing. And it's kind of like, imagine those like sci-fi movies where it's like you can clone yourself or something. It's like you have to be able to clone yourself. You have to be able to be in many places all at the same time as a business owner, especially for solo. And you have to be able to clear that, right? You have to you have to be smart and wise about that and leverage those tools, right? So there's so many ways we can do this, right? But look at things in your business right now. Get a good look, okay? Start getting into the habit, the success habit of looking at your business, like actually like paying attention to what's going on in there, right? Be conscious about it, right? So maybe track your time, like spend a day where you really log everything you're doing that day, right? On a productive day. And we're talking about productive things, right? So it's like, okay, maybe you're noticing after doing that, that, wow, I'm spending like 10 hours creating graphics or something like that, right? Is that really maximizing my time? Is that creating like the highest possible ROI for me? Or is that something that I can automate, delegate, outsource, right? And automate through outsourcing, right? Maybe, you have to find those energy leaks and those things that are taking up tons of time, especially, but also energy, right? You want to be as high value as possible in the things that you're choosing to do, and finding ways again to automate things, simplify things, because then you don't have to worry about them. And that's the big thing, right? So it's not just a time leak, it's an energy leak. So drop a 2 if you really feel like, okay, you know what, it's time, because I'm recognizing and I'm just feeling it, hearing this. I'm like, wow, you know what? There needs to be more of that happening for me. Drop a 2. And again, I think all of us, there's always room for more, right? So, again, it's not just about the time waste, it's about the energy, right? Are you worrying that every time you receive an email, you have to respond to it? Are you worrying that every time you get a new client, shit, now I have to do this whole thing and make a contract from scratch and send over the invoice and do all the things, and that worry, that stresses, and that takes you out of the present, right? It takes you out of your higher level work. And that's what I'm talking about, okay? Because the powerful thing about that is, yes, Emily, yes, Rachel, I see you. That's amazing. Such good self-awareness. And I am totally on board, like I am now in automation frenzy. I'm like doing all the zaps, and then I'm just like letting things as much off my plate as possible. Um, and, the amazing thing about this is that when you start to let go of these things that can be automated and simplified and processized and systematized, it clears up your space, it clears up your mental space, and then you can be more present with your clients. You can be more present with your family. You can be more present, whatever you are doing, right? And that's what the energy mastery piece is about, okay? So, simplifying processes, creating processes, streamlining things, and just creating those templates in your business, right? Huge, huge, huge way to plug up those big, big energy leaks. Okay, perfect. So we're now going to move to air. Okay, and this is a really, really interesting one. We are social, right? And our businesses are being built on social media. Okay, we know that. And one of the biggest energy leaks in that is getting very sucked into the social dynamics and the social component of social media. Okay, and the drama. Okay, there's a lot of drama that can be tapped into at any given moment. Okay, and I've had my fair share of kind of, feeling that and kind of finding my footing and finding my way. But that is a huge freaking energy leak. Okay, if you are spending time every day looking at everybody else's stuff, reading the comments, with your popcorn, and like, you know what I'm saying, like, that is a huge energy leak. You have to learn, and not just, drama in terms of like other people and stuff like that, but it's like that inner drama and that addiction to the emotional, like part of all of this in the social world. Okay, so we have to recognize that, we have to be able to rise above, and that's what the air teaches us. The air teaches us to rise above, detach. Okay, so if you are not consciously managing your social media habits and really choosing habits that support you, that nourish you, and that allow you to, do what you need to do rather than suck you in and, kind of get lost in all of it, then that's going to be a huge energy leak for you. And again, it's just going to take you out of your power. It's going to take you out of your potency. It's going to take you out of your creativity and your center of self, right? And so look at that, okay? Drop a 3 if you resonate. Do you recognize that on some level, or maybe it's really blatant for you, it's time to detach. It's time to kind of take that step back and really see, you know what? Maybe I need to look at my relationship to social media. Maybe I really need to take a good look and see, well, are these things, actually working for me? Is it a healthy dynamic? Is it actually, aligned with what my vision is, right? Always come back to your bigger vision. You don't have time for that shit. Honestly, at the very beginning of my business, I'll be really honest with you. I was spending like most of my energy just in that whole thing, like looking at what other people are doing, just very much like, kind of in that social component. And yes, that is a beautiful gift to be able to use the social media to socialize, right? But I wasn't doing that. It was toxic. And at a certain point, it was so draining to me and it was so counterproductive that I had to literally like take a massive step back, really, really look at it and get fucking clear with myself about what the hell I was actually doing here. Because you don't pay attention to these little habits that we do every single day. But then every day, it's like, either you're taking steps closer to, where you want to be going, or you're standing still, right? And you might trick yourself into thinking, oh, I'm doing this, I'm talking to these people, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm doing market research or whatever it is. But, you have to just be so honest with yourself and again, be that energy master. It's kind of like becoming like a ninja, right? And knowing, oh, you know what? My air is out of whack right now. I'm not detaching. I'm really just getting caught up in all of it. And that's a big place for an energy drain. I mean, let alone all of the mental and emotional. And you know what? Honestly, this online space sometimes, like, it could be triggering. It can be re-traumatizing for many people. And, I just think that it needs to be spoken about more. There needs to be more support. And this has been coming up a lot for me over like since the pandemic, just around like, our words are so powerful and things like that. And it's like, what are you taking in? What are you engaging with? Like just like be kind to yourself and never sacrifice your own well-being and your own inner peace, right? Because that's the most important thing. So, number 3, stay above the drama, right? Detach. Keep expansive, like stay transcendent. You know what I mean? Okay, so excited. So Emily said, well, Rachel said, oh, hey, Alyssa. Rachel said, amen, sister, witnessing that so much. Emily, I'm getting better at sifting through all this, though, especially tuning out a lot that's going on right now, finding better groups. Yeah, and oh my God, such a good point, Emily. It's like right now, it's almost like becoming like, it's like becoming like hyper, like, right? Like I see things on my feed, I've gotten into the habit. This is one of the great ways to plug that is like, if I see something on my feed that instantaneously like trigger or like something is not, I unfollow immediately, right? Like that's my habit. Because at a certain point I was realizing, oh, like I can curate my feed to be like the most positive, like not just positive, that's not what I'm saying, but like for me, I'm not like all positive. I'm not about that, but I'm like, if something somebody's writing is making me just like uncomfortable, it's hitting me the wrong way right now, it's not supporting me, it's leaking my energy, right? It's nothing to do with them, right? Bless you, sister, like not that. But it's like I have to do me and I have to stay true to me and I have to honor myself, right? Because again, we just don't have the time. We have to stay true to ourselves and we have to keep our eyes so focused on what we want to be doing, right? And so that's a really powerful one. Hey, Janie. Hello, welcome. So we're up to number 4. So this is an interesting one as well with the water, right? So you know, one of the things that I think is a big, huge energy leak for many, many of us as solopreneurs, especially, is since we're wearing so many hats, right? And you kind of feel like you have to run everything, right? Which you do. If you don't do it, it's not getting done. But because of that, what ends up happening is we kind of become like the jack of all trades and the ace of none, right? Type of thing where we we are so involved in so many different things, and we start to feel like we have to spread our energy so thin, right? And we all know it's not good to spread our energy so thin. So one of the biggest energy leaks there is that you end up dispersing your energy in so many different things. You're doing a million programs, you're in 25 masterminds, you've bought all these things, you've downloaded all the freebies, but beyond that, even you're doing graphics, you're doing marketing, you're doing your coaching, you're doing I joke with my husband. I'm like I have so many jobs. Like I'm like, who does this, And yes, there is, to a certain degree, we have to do those things, right? If you are solo, then you're going to be managing. You're going to be on the front end, you're going to be on the back end, you're going to be on every end of this business. However, that does leak our energy, and that does create a very dispersed energy. And what it does again is it takes us out of our real strength and power, because our mind is just in so many different places, and then it's hard to focus, it's hard to be present, and then it all becomes this kind of like cycle in which you're not doing anything really well, right? It's like you're with a client, but you're thinking about that invoice you have to send out, or you're doing a podcast show, but in the back of your head you're like, oh, I better make sure to send over that thing to this person or whatever, or you're doing a live, and that in 5 minutes you have to do this thing, so you're just kind of scattered, right? Drop a 4 if you resonate with that. Yes, Emily, it's always a good time to do that. I'm all about that. And again, in a fire way, like just do it, done, don't look back, right? So drop a 4 if that resonates with you, and you just kind of feel like you're in a million different places, but like not in a good way, and you're just kind of like scattered and dropping balls. You're trying to juggle, and the balls are kind of just all over, right? I completely get that. And so the other elements will help, right? So automating, clear some things off the plate, right? If you can get some assistance, clear it off, right? Take the action on things, like just that's what it's about. But with this, what I want to say is give yourself permission to go all in with whatever you're doing, okay? So the water element is the woo way, right? W-U, not W-O-O. The woo way is really about flowing and just presence, right? There's no past, there's no future, there's only the now. Whatever you're doing, be there fully, right? This is about inner mastery, where you need to learn, you need to master this, right? You need to cultivate this skill, which is that full presence, right? If I am doing a live, I'm not thinking about my coaching call coming up. I'm not thinking about that conversation or that person or whatever. I am here, right? I'm here and now, and I'm going fully in with it. And I have given it space, I've given it time, I have prioritized this, right? And I've been able to understand, okay, you know what? Maybe in order to do that, certain things had to happen this morning. I had to have some like food in my belly. I needed to clean my space. I needed to make sure the kids were taken care of, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, if you're not doing that, it's so draining, and it's just not, masterful, and it's not going to lead to powerful results, right? You're not going to be able to be fully present on your coaching call and hear and listen and really tap into the wisdom, right? And the guidance that's needed and things like that. And then your clients won't be able to get the best of your input. And then it becomes that cycle again, right? So things can always spiral in a downward way, right? Kind of like in a way that's not serving, or they can spiral in an upward way, right? And it's all about momentum. So if you're fully present and you're choosing that and you're in that, then that's going to clear up a lot of energy for everything else. So I hope that that makes sense. So drop a 4 if that's something that you really recognize that it's time to do that more. That, whatever you're doing, you're going all in with it and you're focusing and you're, you know, going deep with it, right? It's like if you're going to spend 20 minutes on a whatever, I don't know, like you're looking at your finances, let's say, then like really look at your finances, you know what I'm saying? And that will force you to again let some things go, because we cannot do a million things well, but we can do a couple of things really, really, really well. And that's what's going to actually, get you where you want to go. So, okay, awesome. Yay. I'm so happy. So I really hope that this little mini, workshop. Hey, Misty. Misty said, I've dropped all the balls and currently figuring out what I need to pick up. Yeah. I think many of us can resonate. So, we're in a time right now that this energy mastery is so important more than ever, because again, some of the women in here have full-time jobs and they have their business, right? Some are moms, right? Some are taking care of another person. Whatever the situation is, everybody's unique, like I said. It's just, all it is like a reprioritizing. And I think that one of the gifts of this whole thing is that it's the gift of really learning these new skills of energy mastery and learning to kind of have it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's really cool that now at this point in time, for the time being, I'm a work at home mom again. And yet my business is thriving, right? And I am allowing myself to grow by following this kind of 4-element theory or whatever that allows me to master myself, right? I don't have to sacrifice. I don't have to be all the things at once, with these kinds of guides showing me, okay, like, here's where the energy is being leaked, right? And as soon as you plug up those energy leaks, you just feel so much more stable and you just feel so much more clear, right? So I'm so excited to see how you guys implement some of this. I have an action step for all of you because I'm all about the action, right? And especially with this, like talking about the fire, right? So go ahead right after this, right? If you have the time, if it's, aligned for you, take a quick assessment of these 4 elements in your business, right? Fire, earth, air, and water, right? Fire basically being action, earth basically being like systems and automation and that fire, earth, air being the social, like managing your social experience, keeping your head above the water, detachment. And then water being like going deep, right? Going deep with things and being fully present. And just assess, right? And for each of those areas, right, write down what's not working, okay? And then write down one thing you'll do to plug up that energy leak, and then come and share with us in the group and inspire others, okay? And then take that action. I promise you it will change your whole day, week, month, year, life, everything, right? It's these little things, it's these success habits that we cultivate and this inner mastery that we cultivate that then allows us to go and, do amazing things in the world, okay? So you have to be your own best friend, you have to be your own best ally, you have to lead yourself, and you have to be a ninja. Really, that's what it is, okay? So thank you so much for being here. I will be back again next week with another, astrological based energy mastery little train for you. Let me know if there's anything you'd like for me to focus on specifically. And I wish you all a very blessed and beautiful week ahead. I'll see you guys in the group. Bye.